Hello everyone, I hope you're having a great day. Today, Tuna tries to keep life normal with one quick market trip, but someone quietly sabotages her goods in public. Dust, accidents, and a routine check that steals her selling time. At the same time, Alex gets trapped in endless business verification and urgent meetings, as if someone is squeezing him from the other side. Here's the hook. When the attack looks normal, how do you prove it? And how do you survive it? If you enjoy the story, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next videos. Let's begin. Tuna had agreed to rest for a day, but morning gave her a small problem that didn't wait. A neighbor had paid in advance for a batch, and the vegetables she picked the day before would lose freshness if she kept them another night. Tuna didn't want to waste food or return money, so she chose a simple compromise. One quick trip during the busiest hour, sell the prepaid batch, then leave. She carried Henry to Mrs. Tang's early. Mrs. Tang took the baby without questions, settled him with steady hands, and told Tuna to keep the trip short and public. Tuna nodded, thanked her, and left immediately. In town, Tuna set her goods in order and started selling fast. She kept her words short and professional. She didn't chat longer than needed. She didn't let anyone pull her into side conversations. The first sales went smoothly, and she moved through her prepaid batch quickly. Then the disruptions began. Sharp, clean, and hard to accuse. A motorbike squeezed past too close. The rider didn't hit her, but the exhaust blast and dust kicked up right at her vegetables. Tuna waited for the dust to settle, wiped what she could, and rearranged everything so the cleanest items stayed on top. A few minutes later, someone brushed past and accidentally tugged the edge of her cloth. 2 jars tilted. Tuna caught them before they fell, but one lid scraped the ground, leaving a mark. The person didn't stop or apologize. Tuna didn't chase. She wiped the jar, tightened the lid, and set that one aside, refusing to sell it. A third disruption landed like a performance. A man stepped in, picked up a jar, sniffed dramatically, and raised his voice just enough for people nearby to hear. He didn't scream. He spoke as if he was warning others, hinting that sidewalk food was risky, that sellers couldn't be trusted, that someone should report this. Tuna didn't argue. She took the jar back, tightened the lid in front of him, and said calmly that anyone who felt uncomfortable didn't need to buy. She offered no drama for his show. With nothing to win, the man shrugged and walked off. But the crowd had heard. A few buyers hesitated. One woman asked too many questions and stared at the jars like she expected a problem. Tuna answered briefly, reset her line, and continued. She sold enough to cover the prepaid batch, then chose to pack early. Staying longer meant giving more time for accidents. As she tied her bundle, a market staff member approached. He called her name and spoke in an official tone. There had been a complaint, he said. Routine confirmation, hygiene and labeling, a quick signature. He didn't threaten her. He didn't shout. He made it sound like normal procedure. Tuna knew the pattern. Public pressure that looked clean. Refusing would make her look guilty, so she followed him. The quick process was designed to stretch. A form needed a stamp. The stamp needed a manager. The manager was busy. Another staff member repeated the same questions as if waiting for her to slip. Someone pointed at her jars and demanded details that many small sellers never had printed. The tone stayed polite, which made it harder to protest. The minutes kept leaking away. Tuna kept her answers short. She didn't volunteer extra information. She didn't argue about fairness. She simply completed what she could and waited. When she returned to her selling spot, the busy hour had thinned, and her goods had been touched again. Nothing was stolen. That was the point. A few jars were shifted out of line. One lid felt looser than it should have been. A smear of dirty water marked the edge of her cloth. The arrangement no longer looked like the clean, tight setup she had left. Buyers who might have stopped during the peak were already gone. Tuna didn't accuse anyone around her. She tightened lids one by one, wiped what needed wiping, and reset her line quickly. She sold what she could in the remaining time, then packed up without stretching the day further. She refused to sit there waiting for the next accident. She left town and headed straight to Mrs. Tang's. While Tuna was dealing with daylight sabotage, Alex's day was being attacked in a different way, through office language and slow pressure. A buyer delayed payment and demanded additional verification. A partner requested an urgent meeting about risk. Another contact insisted on reconfirming schedules and quality proof. Each request looked reasonable on paper, but the timing was too tight, the stack too heavy. Alex answered calmly, sent documents, asked for specifics, and refused to be dragged into endless back and forth. He treated each demand like a task. Complete once, complete cleanly, move on. Across town, the pressure was being shaped deliberately. Mai met Min and fed him the exact kind of information that turned routine business into a trap. Not dramatic secrets, just weak points, predictable schedules, which buyers were easiest to scare, which partners hated delays. Min didn't need to touch Alex directly. He used procedure and doubt, positioning his company as a safer alternative and pushing others to hesitate around Alex. By late afternoon, Tuna arrived at Mrs. Tang's to pick up Henry. Mrs. Tang handed the baby back gently, checked his blanket, and asked one practical question about the day. Tuna answered with facts. She sold the prepaid batch, got pulled into paperwork, and her goods were disturbed. Mrs. Tang didn't lecture. She simply nodded, as if she had seen this kind of pressure in different forms before. Tuna adjusted Henry on her shoulder and repacked her bundle neatly. She didn't linger on the road. She stayed close to Mrs. Tang's doorway while she got everything ready. A car approached from the main road and slowed nearby. The engine cut cleanly. Footsteps came around the front. Tuna looked up and saw Alex walking toward them, controlled and focused, arriving at the end of the same day that had been squeezed from two sides. Alex walked up to Mrs. Tang's doorway with a controlled pace, like he was stepping into a meeting rather than rushing into a crisis. He checked Henry first. Quick glance, quiet relief that the baby looked calm, then looked at Tuna's bundle and her hands. Her fingers were stained from wiping and packing, and her movements were still fast, like she hadn't fully stopped all day. Mrs. Tang didn't waste time on greetings. She shifted aside to make space and said calmly that Tuna's day had been messy. Alex nodded once and asked Tuna to tell him the day in order, focusing on what happened and what changed. Tuna kept it factual. She explained she went out to sell a prepaid batch quickly, then small disruptions kept landing around her goods. Dust, bumps, a jar disturbed at the wrong moment, followed by an official routine confirmation that dragged longer than it should. When she returned, her setup had clearly been touched again in subtle ways that made buyers hesitate. She didn't claim she saw who did it. She didn't add dramatic guesses. She described the result. Trust weakened, time stolen, sales reduced. Alex listened without interrupting. Then he gave his update in the same style. Payment delays, verification demands, meetings stacking up with polite wording but heavy timing. Nothing looked like an attack on paper, but the timing and the repetition made it feel engineered. He didn't complain. He treated it like a pattern that needed a response. Mrs. Tang watched both of them with the calm expression of someone who didn't panic easily. She added one practical point. In a market, once complaint becomes a rumor, suspicion spreads faster than explanations. Today's disruptions weren't only about a few jars. They were about planting doubt in public. Alex didn't argue. He made a decision that was about control, not pride. They would go home now and keep the rest of the afternoon simple. He took Tuna's bundle without making it dramatic. Tuna adjusted Henry higher on her shoulder, thanked Mrs. Tang, and followed Alex to the car. Mrs. Tang stayed at the doorway, reminding Tuna to come back any time and telling Alex, in a low voice, to keep choices simple and safe. The drive back was short because Mrs. Tang lived close. There wasn't another road to choose or a special route to avoid trouble. They simply went home the same way people always did. Alex kept the speed steady and the movement smooth. Tuna stayed quiet, focusing on Henry, checking the blanket, patting his back when he fussed, keeping him settled with small, rhythmic motions. No speeches, no replaying the market, just getting home. At Tuna's place, Alex parked neatly and carried the bundle straight into the kitchen area. He didn't turn the arrival into a ritual or a big security show. He wanted the house to feel normal while still being managed properly. Tuna came in with Henry and closed the door behind her. Alex set the goods down and immediately helped sort what could still be trusted. He didn't talk about who touched what. He focused on what was safe. Anything that looked questionable, anything that had been disturbed or felt loose at the market, he placed aside without debate. He handled it like quality control at work. If it risks reputation, it doesn't go out. Tuna watched him do it and didn't fight. She knew one bad jar could cost more than a lost batch. Tuna washed her hands and took Henry into the sleeping room to feed him and settle him. She kept the baby calm with simple, familiar motions. While she was with Henry, Alex stayed efficient. He checked the bamboo gate tie once and the door lock once, then came back inside. No wandering around the yard, no standing outside trying to catch anyone. He kept everything closed, quiet, and practical. When Henry settled, Tuna returned and sat with Alex at the bamboo table for a few minutes. The light was softer now, turning toward evening. Alex didn't lecture. He spoke in short points, the way he planned tasks when time mattered. Tomorrow needed structure. If Tuna sold again soon, it would be smaller batches and shorter windows, staying close to other sellers and busy foot traffic. If disruption started again, she ends early. Not to give up, but to stop bleeding time. If someone tried to pull her into another long routine confirmation, she keeps it strict. Ask for the exact requirement, complete it once, and leave. No standing there while minutes drain away. Clear, clean, finished. Tuna didn't love being managed, but she couldn't deny the logic. Today wasn't stolen by violence. It was stolen by time, and time was what she needed to protect. Then Alex switched to his side of the pressure. He opened his laptop at the table and assembled a single verification package for the buyer who had delayed payment. He didn't send scattered replies. He gathered everything into one clean set: delivery records, quality checks, timestamps, and a short summary that made it hard to keep asking for one more thing. His message was polite but firm, asking for a clear response in writing instead of endless back and forth. Tuna didn't fully understand the business language, but she understood what it meant in practice. If Alex's time got eaten, he couldn't be present when she needed him most. She quietly cleaned the kitchen while he worked, wiping surfaces, arranging tomorrow's ingredients, checking lids, keeping the house ready for morning. No dramatic talk, just steady work. When Alex finished and sent the package, the evening felt calmer. He closed the laptop and stood. He didn't want to create a predictable pattern of always staying late. Predictability could become another weakness. He helped move a few items closer to the kitchen so Tuna wouldn't need extra trips outside in the morning, then walked with her to the doorway. At the threshold, Alex paused and brought up something he had suggested before, but he said it plainly, without pressure. He told Tuna it would be safer and easier if she stayed with him for a while. Not because she couldn't live alone, but because she shouldn't have to absorb this kind of public sabotage while caring for a baby. He wasn't asking her to give up her home. He was offering a practical solution: fewer vulnerable hours, less isolation, more stability. Then he added the second offer, just as calmly. If she didn't want to stay home, she could come work at his company. Not a big role, not something that would embarrass her. Simple tasks first, learning step by step. A stable income. A place where people knew her face and where accidents were harder to arrange in public. He didn't promise luxury. He promised structure, visibility, and support. Tuna didn't answer immediately. She held the doorframe with one hand and glanced back toward the sleeping room where Henry rested. Her face wasn't dramatic, just thoughtful. Today had shown her the cost of standing alone in the open, lost hours, damaged trust, a routine that could be bent by strangers. "I'm not ready to promise," she said quietly, "but I'll think about it." Alex nodded once, accepting that as a real step. He didn't push for more. He walked to his car, started the engine, and drove away. Tuna stayed in the doorway for a moment, then closed the door and went back inside to Henry, carrying that new thought with her. No longer an easy refusal, but a decision she could feel approaching.
Nga phải phá vỡ ngày nghỉ của mình để làm một lô hàng trả trước và để Henry ở nhà với bà tang. Tại chợ, một loạt những sự cố nhỏ khiến hàng hóa của cô trông không được sạch sẽ, rồi một cuộc kiểm tra định kỳ của chính quyền kéo dài và cướp mất giờ bán hàng tốt nhất của cô. Khi trở về, cách bày bán của cô lại bị xáo trộn một cách tinh vi, khiến người mua do dự và doanh số bán hàng giảm sút. Sau đó, Alex gặp Tử Na ở nhà bà tang và trao đổi tình hình. Thu nhập của Tử Na đang bị thất thoát công khai, trong khi Alex lại bị vùi lấp bởi sự chậm trễ thanh toán, yêu cầu xác minh và các cuộc họp khẩn cấp. Họ cùng nhau về nhà, sắp xếp những thứ an toàn và lên kế hoạch chặt chẽ hơn cho việc bán hàng và xử lý các kiểm tra định kỳ. Trước khi rời đi, Alex đề nghị Tử Na một lựa chọn an toàn hơn, chuyển đến sống cùng anh và cân nhắc làm việc tại công ty của anh. Lần này, Tử Na không từ chối.